What is the difference between carbon neutral and net zero? Now we know there are several greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, perfluorocarbons, sulfur hexafluoride. They all have different global warming potentials. When we reduce the ability of the heat trapping capacity of these gases with respect to one, say assign a global warming potential of 1 to carbon dioxide, we are able to know the warming potential of all the other gases also. So we have to, in order to reduce the global warming, eliminate or reduce the emission of these gases. So what do these industries do? For example, there is a petrochemical industry and they can by no means completely reduce or completely stop emission of carbon dioxide. So they will pledge, say we will create a sanctuary, will create a wetland or peatland somewhere else which will sequester carbon dioxide at that place. However, we will continue releasing carbon dioxide from our plants. That is known as offsetting emissions by buying carbon credits, meaning you offset it, you make it neutral, you continue to release your carbon dioxide, but at some other place you create an environment consisting of wetlands or peatlands which will absorb the same amount of carbon dioxide elsewhere. That this type of trade-off or like a balance is known as carbon neutrality. You make it neutral. Whereas when we talk about net zero means reducing all the greenhouse gases. Now carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, perfluorocarbon, everything we have to reduce. Whereas carbon neutral was focusing just on carbon dioxide, we are going to reduce all the gases by completely designing processes, treatment processes, or using alternative energy sources and raw material to completely reduce them to zero. Okay, and whichever is absolutely not possible to reduce, we will offset that remaining part only, okay, which cannot be reduced. So say for example, an alternative to fossil fuels is green fuels using electric vehicles, electric energy. So these are, in this way we completely able to reduce the emission of carbon dioxide. That is aligning with the net zero goals. Okay, now the carbon neutral means it is mostly aligning with scope 1 and 2, which are direct and indirect emissions, whereas scope 3 emissions, which are the other indirect emissions, are voluntary to account in carbon neutral. In net zero, it accounts for all. We are going to reduce these gases across all scope 1, 2 and 3 emissions, direct, indirect and other indirect emissions. Okay, now another difference between carbon neutral and net zero is, in carbon neutral we only reduce the carbon emissions, whereas in net zero we are going to reduce all the emissions from all the gases, methane, nitrous oxide, perfluorocarbon, sulfur hexafluoride and so on. They all contribute to greenhouse gas. They are all greenhouse gases. Okay, now net zero, it say in India's context, we have pledged to become net zero by 2070. That is India's NDC, correct, nationally determined contribution. Now net zero is nothing but as written here, a balance between the emission of greenhouse gas and its removal from the atmosphere. Okay, and say we have to, for that purpose, we not only need to design processes to reduce the carbon dioxide, but in order to take care of the future generations also, to improve the sequestration of carbon, we have to grow vegetation, correct, we have to we have to design green processes. We need innovations in technology which do not produce carbon emissions. So that is the difference between carbon neutral and net zero. Thank you. I hope you are following. Thank you.